All right, we have to my right Elizabeth Charleston.
Hello.
And Lydia Charleston.
Hello.
These are my two youngest daughters. And this year they are participating in the Bible Bee, and we thought this would be appropriate since we're talking about studying the Bible. So Abigail, for her game show, Abigail's with us too.
Hello.
And so we wanted to kind of just show you like a mock-up of what the Bible Bee is all about and what they do. And this year they're talking about the book of Ruth, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe I shouldn't ask questions. And so the summer study is you're studying the whole book of Ruth?
Yes. Yeah.
And that's it? Nothing else?
That's it.
And so if you move on to the next level, then they'll give you more passages, right?
Yeah, and a different book to study.
And a different book, that's right. So basically, like last year, how many verses do you have to memorize?
Around 1,000.
Around 1,000 verses?
Yeah.
And the memorizing is probably the easy part.
Mostly.
Yeah, I mean, they want you to get into all the Greek words. They don't even tell you what Greek words. You got to just figure it out. And then cross-references. And they really want you to dive into these books. So, without further ado, is it time for Game Time with Abigail?
And now it's time for Game Time with Abigail.
All right, Abigail, this is now your... So what do you want them to do? Do you want them to, like, hit the table first or raise their hand first? Or how are we going to do this?
I'm just going to have them take turns answering first, and so they'll all get a chance to answer.
They all will. All two of them.
They both will get a chance to answer.
All right, and so they can either hopefully hear this and not this.
Yep, that's the goal.
All right, well, let's go ahead and do this.
All right, so we've got a couple multiple choice, and then most of them are just, you got to know the answer. So we're going to start with Elizabeth to answer first. Where did Moses die?
Mount Nebo.
Mount
Lydia?
Nebo.
Mount Nebo.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're going to do. Just follow after her, huh? Okay, Mount Nebo.
All right, Lydia, you get to answer this one first. What two bodies of water are connected by the Jordan River?
The Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea.
Elizabeth?
The Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea.
Yep.
All right, we got 2 for 2 so far.
All right, Elizabeth. What river did they have to cross on their journey?
Who's their journey?
In the book of Ruth,
Okay.
Ruth and...
You know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
so what river?
The Jordan. The Jordan.
Yes.
All
That is
right,
correct.
would have been a good guess if I didn't know.
All right, we're going to do Lydia's first. What does Elimelech mean?
Ooh, Elimelech.
Elimelech means my God is king. My God is king.
That is correct.
Very good. Did you know that, babe? Oh, she knows. Sarah studies with them.
All right, now we have 2 Hebrew words, and I probably will mispronounce them, so hopefully you guys will just get them right. Who are we starting with? Elizabeth. What is the Hebrew word for bless found in Ruth 2:4?
Barak. Barak.
Yes.
Well, you didn't say it. You're like,
I didn't. I said I hope they get it right, so I don't have to say.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right, we got another Hebrew word.
All right, and Lydia, what is the Hebrew word for next kinsman found in Ruth 2:20?
We don't have that one.
I found it in your book.
Oh, she stumped you.
Well, I don't remember that one.
Well, just guess.
Ooh, that's hard.
What does it sound like? What was say it again? Say the phrase.
Next kinsman.
Kinsman.
I don't remember that
What's
word.
the Hebrew word for kinsman? Ooh, you're stumping
You
them.
want to take a guess?
Is it Tikva?
Elizabeth?
Gail?
Yeah, I don't think that's pronounced right, but yeah, it's like Gaal or something.
Yeah, that's Redeemer.
Well, it said next kinsman.
It's both.
This is the problem with the Bible. You have to the Bible Bee. You have to adjust and okay, it's not always going to be perfect way of saying it, and you have to think about what are they trying to get me to. But so anyway, we've got a little.
All right, now I have 2 questions that are kind of cross-reference questions, and they are multiple choice, so they're a little bit easier, hopefully. Elizabeth gets to answer the first one first. Leviticus 25, 47
Wait.
through 49.
Like Leviticus. What is that?
Go ahead. Leviticus what?
Leviticus 25, 47 through 49 shows that a poor man could be redeemed by a close relative if he A. sold himself, B. was injured, C. went to prison, or D. none of these.
A. Sold himself.
Lydia?
A. Sold himself.
Yes. And then Lydia, you get to answer this next one first. What is perfect according to Psalm 19? Is it A. law of the Lord, B. God's love, C. salvation, or D. fear of the Lord?
What was the first one?
Law of the Lord.
It's that one. Law of the
Oh,
Lord.
sorry. A little early.
That is correct. So that is all the questions we have. And now
So
I have,
just to explain, so at the
Okay.
Bible Bee, if you make it to nationals, they have a computer test. So they answer all these questions. They don't do it out loud, and they answer the questions. And then they have another time where they have to go and quote scripture, and then they compile that. And if you're in the top 15, then they have a game show, kind of like this, and they do have to answer the questions out loud, right?
Yes.
And you were part of that 1 year, right?
Yep.
That was not fun.
It was.
Okay, but it was nerve-wracking because you were
Very.
standing in front of everyone. But they would ask you a question, you just had to be the first one to get it or whatever, right?
Yep.
So is this the section where they gotta quote some verses?
Yep, I'm just going to give them a passage and they're going to have to recite it from memory.
All right, who goes first?
We'll start with Elizabeth. All right, so Elizabeth, please recite Romans 5, 12 through 14.
Wow.
Romans 5, 12 through 14. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. Nevertheless, death reigned from Adam to Moses, even over them that had not sinned after the similitude of Adam's transgression, who is the figure of him that was to come. Romans 5, 12 through 14.
Very good. And now
No one of
Lydia,
consequence.
please recite Ruth 1, 16 through 17.
Ruth 1, 16 through 17. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. Where thou diest, will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord who said to me, and more also, if aught but death part thee and me. Ruth 1, 16 through 17.
That is correct.
You don't have any earphones on, do you?
I don't.
Oh, okay, because I'm doing things and you're just plowing through. It's okay. So do you have anything else, or that's it?
That was it.
Okay, so that's it. So that's basically, so when they actually study, so why don't you go ahead and tell us how you study the book of Ruth? What's your day look like when you study the book of Ruth?
Well, they do have a discovery journal that
Right.
does a lot of the studying, but you also, what helps is observation questions.
Explain the observation questions.
Who, what, when, where, how,
Okay,
why.
right,
This.
right.
So that helps. And basically, I think the discovery journal really helps.
Because you have no idea what the questions are going to be when they ask
Yeah,
you the
no.
questions. So you have to try to be prepared for every eventual question.
Yeah.
That's what you mean by observational questions help.
Yeah. They give and also study of background and context.
So how long does it take you to go over your verses, and how often do you read this stuff, and how often do you spend your time in the discovery journal?
Well, we read a lot. We read Ruth every day. We read our passages and a lot of other things. Like
How long does it take you
cross-reference.
to read your passages?
Not very long, because there's only 14 of them.
Yeah, but to memorize them, you guys, how long does it take you to memorize a passage? How do you do that? Basically, what does that look like to memorize?
Read them every day, and then eventually you quote them. And
Just read them and then you quote them.
or you can do it phrase by phrase.
Phrase by phrase. You don't use a program or anything like that?
I do, but they're mostly a distraction.
Okay, so they don't really help that much. So basically, just keep reading it and going over until you just get it down.
Yep.
And then you move on to the next one.
Yeah.
It does help to have a good brain, and in that case. So anyway, that is Elizabeth and that is Lydia. Thank you guys for joining us.